We think of childhood as this safe, innocent time, right? A bubble protected from all the really dark stuff in the world. But for some people, that bubble pops. For some, childhood is where the deepest, most terrifying, and unexplainable fears begin. Today, we're going to dive into three true accounts where those fears became all too real. I mean, it's the classic fear, isn't it? You hear a noise in the dark, you see a shadow move in the corner of your eye, and you just tell yourself, it's nothing, it's just my imagination. But what if, one night, you got undeniable proof that it wasn't? Yeah, these aren't just spooky campfire stories. These are firsthand accounts from people who had their childhoods completely upended by something they still can't explain. We're going to start with a story about a boarding school roommate who was so much more than just a little strange. Okay, so put yourself in this situation. You're 13 years old, you're at boarding school, and you're sharing a room with this kid named Weston. At first, he just seems a little off, but that little bit of off starts to spiral into something way, way more sinister. It starts when he gets this handwritten list of rules. No frogs in the room. Okay, weird, but maybe he's scared of them. But no salt? What on earth could that mean? And then there's the other stuff. He's always muttering to someone who isn't there, and he finds this notebook filled with names of kids from school, including his own, and a bunch of them are just scratched out. The paranoia really starts to set in. And then this happens. Our narrator wakes up. It's the middle of the night, pitch black. As his eyes adjust, he realizes Weston isn't in his bed. No, he's standing right over him, towering over his bed, with this smile on his face. His hands are kind of raised, like he's about to do something. That's an image that would be burned into your brain forever. Weston's excuse is so flimsy. Oh, you were talking in your sleep. But it's just plausible enough to make you doubt yourself. And then, the next morning, he says he doesn't remember a thing. It's total gaslighting. It makes the narrator question his own sanity. Did I dream it? Did that really happen? That psychological game is almost worse than the fear itself. Just when you think it can't get any weirder, the narrator comes back to the room and finds a live snake on his bed. Weston just says it was a harmless prank. But when he asks him, where did you even get a snake? Weston's reply is so chilling. He just says, what do you mean? They're everywhere. The thing is, the narrator had never seen a single snake on campus. It's like Weston is living in a completely different and much darker reality. So this is where it all comes to a head. It starts out as one of those awful sleep paralysis nightmares. He sees this dark, swirling mass come down from the ceiling. A claw comes out, and it starts scratching at his bed frame. Then it just flies into a rage, trashing the whole room and smashing through the window. It's a terrifying dream, but it's just a dream. Or so he thought. That sound, the sound of glass breaking, wasn't a dream sound. It was real. His eyes snap open and he's still staring at the window, just like he was in the nightmare. The dream is over, but the real terror, that's just getting started. And this is the part that is just bone-chilling. He wasn't just dreaming about what was happening in his room. The scene from his nightmare was an exact, perfect match for the state of the room he woke up in. Every single detail was the same. The wall between his subconscious and the physical world just crumbled. And here's the proof. It's undeniable. The window isn't just cracked, it's shattered. Glass is still falling. The room is completely ransacked, just like in the dream. And the worst part? There are deep, long scratches in his wooden bed frame, exactly where he saw the claw scraping. He tries to wake Weston up, but his roommate is just dead asleep, snoring. So if it wasn't Weston, what was it? Okay, for our second story, we're heading out to a remote farmhouse in Pennsylvania. A young boy is spending his summers with his grandparents, and he starts to get this creepy feeling that he's not alone in his attic bedroom. You know how these things go, right? It always starts small. He'd hear these soft footsteps coming up the stairs at night. He'd watch the doorknob turn, see the door creak open. He'd just pretend to be asleep, thinking it was his grandma checking in on him. But then one night, he wakes up, and there's a dark figure just standing at the foot of his bed, watching him. He tells himself it was just a nightmare, but in the morning, his closet door is wide open. For years, he just explains it all away. His mom tells him he has an active imagination, and he kind of accepts it. But then, years later, he's at his grandparents' funeral, and he's making small talk with his cousin Francisco, who used to stay at the farm too. He tells Francisco about his weird experiences, almost laughing about it, expecting his cousin to laugh too. Francisco did not laugh. And bam, with that one sentence, his entire memory of his childhood is just shattered. Francisco's face is completely blank when he says it. Not only did he see the same thing, but for him, it was so, so much worse. All of a sudden, the narrator's active imagination has a terrifying witness.
So let's just break this down. Our narrator saw a figure watching him. Francisco, he felt the mattress sink down, like something sat on the bed with him. He felt fingers tracing the features of his face. He felt it grab his wrist and hold him there. And he just knew instinctively that its hands were rough and scratchy, definitely not his grandparents' hands. His fear was not only confirmed, it was horribly, horribly escalated.
Our final story is, well, it's maybe the most heartbreaking of the three. It starts with a lonely 9-year-old boy in a townhouse. His bedroom window looks right into the window of the house behind his, and for a long time, that window is just empty. But then one day, it isn't. A girl about his age appears. She has dark hair, a ponytail, and she's always wearing the same yellow sweater. And they start this routine, this friendship through the glass. They wave, they play guessing games with drawings they hold up. He tries to talk to her, but her window is always shut tight. He just figures her parents must be really strict. But then their friendship takes this really dark turn. She shows up one night at 2 a.m, tapping on the glass, looking terrified. A few nights later, she's back again, pressing her hands against the window. He can see her breath fogging the glass as she mouths the words, "Help me." He sees a dark stain on her yellow sweater and he panics. He tells his parents and their reaction is weird. They immediately install blackout curtains and tell him he's too old for imaginary friends. And just like that, the girl is gone. He never sees her again. For years, the boy is just confused and hurt. His friend vanished, and his parents acted like he did something wrong. It wasn't until he was in high school that his mother finally sat him down and explained the chilling, real story of the girl in the window. Her name was Jenna. She wasn't the neighbor's granddaughter who was visiting. She was the 11-year-old daughter of the family who owned that house right before the Murphys moved in. And this is where every single detail just clicks into place with this heartbreaking clarity. Jenna had been killed. She was hit by a car right in front of the house, just after getting home from school. And on the day she died, she was wearing a yellow sweater. His friend wasn't imaginary. She was a ghost. So you have 3 completely different stories. A paranoid roommate, a visitor in a farmhouse, a ghostly friend across the way, but they're all connected by this one terrifying idea: childhood fears becoming an undeniable physical reality. So what do we do with accounts like these? Are they just stories from kids with overactive imaginations? Or do they point to something else? Do they suggest that sometimes, when a child looks into the darkness and feels like something is looking back, they might actually be right? Maybe the real horror isn't just what's hiding in the shadows, but the chilling idea that some things just can't be explained away.